Hello, everyone. My name is Paul Simmons from Happyjack Studios. This afternoon, I want to show you a way, if you don't want to use Photoshop, which I know a lot of people don't, I'm going to show you a really quick way that you can adjust pictures or images of models or landscapes or everything. Okay, so we're looking at a photo. A little bit of a disclaimer before we start. I love Avoto and it's a fantastic program. But what I don't do is I don't use this program for my skin retouches because um, I prefer to use, I'm old fashioned, I've been doing this a long time. So I prefer to use Photoshop with dodge and burn and skin tones. So, but this is a really, really quick way of doing Photoshop where you can, not doing Photoshop, where you can use a photo to really touch up pictures satisfactorily to get away with to use on the internet. Um, so anyway, let's start. This model's Lucia. On the day she came to see me, which was about 2 years ago, she'd had a terrible outbreak on her skin. So she turned up. She was quite distressed about it, and she was really peed off with the fact that her skin had gone dreadful on the day. So the first thing I want to show you is this image was shot about, like I say, about 2 years ago. I'm just going to zoom in on Lucia's eyes because I want to show you something. Lots and lots of people tell me, "Oh, you use AI on the eyes, and you can see that." So let me just show you. It's a basic thing. I always use one umbrella across the top or a softbox, and I use another rectangular softbox just below. Um, that's my technique. If you look at other videos, you'll see exactly what I do. So let's get into doing some retouching. So the first thing I want to do is I want to retouch Lucia's skin. So what we're going to do is we're going to go, this is so simple and you're going to be shocked when you see this. There's lots of different ways you can do this. You could use natural. All I've done is just clicked on it and you can see it working away down the bottom there. So already you'll see that that's retouched Lucia's skin quite well. And if I take that off again, so if you want to keep it quite looking quite natural, you can do. I'm going to show you, by the way, these little Avoto stickers, when you buy the program, they disappear. So don't be alarmed if you start to use it and the program shows up with these. By the way, I'm not sponsored in any shape or form by Avoto by showing you this. So don't think for a second that I'm trying to sell it you because I'm not. I like to use this one. If you look at high end, okay, so that's going to clear the skin up. You can see it processing away there. So if you look at that now, that's completely different to where we started. So what it's done is, let's just zoom out a little bit. It's cleaned everything up. It's whitened the eyes slightly, and you can see everything there. What you can do with that is, if you want to take freckles out, or if you didn't, if you found that was too sharp for you, you can actually just knock it right the way down. You'll see it processes away there, and you can see when you zoom in that if you wanted to keep freckles or if you wanted to keep some skin texture or something. But you know what? For this example, I want to bang them both up to the top there. Let's be excessive. So it'll just, okay, so you can see it's not taken away everything, but it's taken away a lot of the things that we don't want. So let's just work through. Let's just remember in this example, everything that we do is going to be excessive. Okay, so I'm going to show you this first. As you can see the reflector there. You can see the softbox above there. Let's just say that you unfortunately didn't manage to do that. You can go in, you can put yourself a studio light on there or this way that you need, or okay, so you could make it look exactly how, if the eyes were flat and they looked like they were dead. Obviously we don't need to do that in this image because we've lit it properly. The other thing is that we can do now is we can, let's get out of that. We can go into skin retouching and we can alter body smoothing. We can alter the skin tones. For example, it's on that one. If we knock it down to that one, it makes it more to there. It makes it look paler. So let's keep it where it's supposed to be. I shot this in RAW, by the way. So let's just get down to some nitty gritty of what we can actually show you what we're doing. The first thing I want to show you is we've done the blemish the skin. So now what I want to do you is show this is dodge and burn, which you can alter that as much as you want. So let's get it back up to about 51. Let's have another look. Just keep reminding yourself what you were going from and to. Lucia did her own makeup on the day, and she's pretty good at it, to be fair. Skin radiance and temperature, you can alter that and knock it down. But you know what? I'm not actually going to look at that very much at all. This is a fantastic little bit of kit here. If you look at Lucia's eyes, just around there, she's got some red veins that you can see that most people have got. So what we'll do is we'll get rid of those. We can use this sliding scale to get rid as much or as little as we want. I think that's about right. If you do it too much, they look too fake. They don't look real. So somewhere around there, you can still see some of the light in it. You know, the little thing, the little bits of veins in her eyes. And zoom out, have a quick look at it again. Okay, it's for me, it's looking a little bit over retouch, but that's what we're trying to do today. We're trying to make it something that's kind of, we're going to be excessive. The next thing we're going to do is we've done the eyes. What we're going to do is Lucia has got amazing teeth. We don't need to do that. Um, Facial expression is absolutely horrific, horrific. So if you look at that, it looks like a blooming clown. Absolutely. So I always keep away from that. Makeup. This is quite interesting. There's lots of different things you can do in makeup. There's all these little presets here where if I click onto that hardcore, it's very very much over the top, as you can see. The nude one isn't too bad. Um, I don't think she needs any of that, so we'll switch that off. Let's look at the contour. You've got different levels of contour. So if you look at Lucia's face, it tones down the side pieces there, highlights the cheeks, and you can work your way all along those. So just different ones give you different levels. For this example we're doing today, we really want to over exaggerate everything. This is way too much. This is definitely not how I'm recommending you to do things, because I want to show this program the way it works, and just let people know what they think of it and what I think of it. This is quite interesting. Eyebrows. Let's zoom in on Lucia's eyebrows a little bit. Okay, so Lucia's eyebrows are pretty good. We can alter that by adding a little bit of extra. If you can see the problem with the eyebrows, can you see there? Look, if you look there, it's added that in. So let's just get rid of that. Look, can you see the way it's added that in? So you've got to be careful which type of eyebrow you use. On Lucia's, I'm going to be honest with you, none of them need to be used, because none of those actually fit with Lucia's eyebrows. Um, so I would leave that off, but I do use that sometimes when I'm using this. Face decorations, that sounds like we're going to do some sort of party tricks, but all that is really simply is a few freckles. So the thing with these freckles is you can make these freckles look quite real. So let's just do that. So what you need to do with the freckles to make them look real is, excuse me, just around about there is the amount. Take that amount down until it's hardly noticeable. Um, Contacts. You could change Luch. She's got beautiful eyes anyway. So a lot of these things I'm showing you now would be absolutely criminal. But you can see you can change different eyebrow colors, different contacts you can put in there. So I think that to do that would be sacrilege on a model like Lucia. But you know what? Let's just be excessive and show you what we can do. We've showed you the eyebrows, eyeshadows we can alter, eyelashes. Uh, we can get those as much or as little as we want. Let's have a look what it was. So that's hardly noticeable. I think the secret with using something like a Voto is that it's almost unnoticeable, if that makes sense. So let's just let's leave it on that and see what we think. Um, Lip color adjustment. Just watch Lucia's lips. So we can take it as pale and as dark as we want to. The easy way, I think, for lips is to use this lipstick thing. So let's have a look what colour Lucia's lips. Oh, so they're about right where they are. So all we're doing is we're going to look through. I think that's about the right colour. So it's hardly noticeable. What I will show you with the lipstick is it looks quite flat there, and Lucia's lips look a little bit dry. So I'm going to change that to glossy, and it gives you that little bit of shine and that little bit more of a tone. So what have we done? We've contoured the face. We've put some eyelashes on. We've just cleaned the lips up a little bit. We've put some freckles very gently. Um, So what else could we do? Let's have a little look through. We can actually alter eyeshadow if we wanted to. So let's try a few of those. That looks quite nice. Just remember when you're watching this video that this is for demonstration purposes and it's kind of excessive really. So let's have a little look. That's really excessive, isn't it? Way too much. So let's look back at natural as it was. The thing with all of these, I actually quite like that. I know it's too much, but I quite like that. So we'll leave it at that. It's way too much. What we've got this makeup suite where we had all these different things. We've got the eyebrows, which we can alter. We've got the eyeshadow. We've got the eyelashes. We've got the contacts. Blush, that gives you a little bit red cheeks. Absolutely detest it, I do. Don't like it at all. It looks completely fake, completely false. Don't like it at all. You try it, feed some images into it and see what you think. Um, we've got the contour, we've got lipstick, and we've got face decorations, which gave us the freckles. So we've got to the point now where it's looking kind of, it's looking kind of, uh, I mean, it's looking completely unreal, but it's where we want it to be almost. So let's have a little look at, let's take that, let's drop that down a little bit. So let's get rid of all the facial things and the makeup. The next thing that is, we can alter facial shapes. I would never need to do that with Lucia, but what we can do is facial shapes. We can actually, let's do it. Let's just show you. So you can actually see her face is getting more and more heart shaped, or her cheeks getting. So let's put it back to where it was. Sorry, Lucia, if you ever watch this. The temple area, we can make that a bit wider or a bit bigger. Absolutely horrible. So it just gives you a good idea that what we get. The cheekbones. You can see you can alter things, and then we can go onto the jaw, the temple there. Why didn't I put that back to 0? And the cheekbones, we can get those. If you're not careful with these things, it starts to look a little bit sort of it starts to look a little bit AI. This is new. Let's have a look at this, the filter. So you can see the filtrum is just below the nose, in between the nose and the lip. So absolutely horrid, absolutely horrid. So there's lots of things in this app that I would say please don't use. Um, and there's something now. This is a weird one, and this never really works for me. Symmetrize. Um, when I click this, it literally takes the two halves of the face and makes them look exactly the same. Sometimes it looks really weird, and as you can see, it's straightened Lucia up in there. And then sometimes you think to yourself, actually, it looks better like that. But you can see, look, it looks nothing at all like Lucia really looks in real life. And I can tell you, in normal days, she's got perfect skin. But let's leave that symmetrize on. Um, we've also got that for the upper body symmetry if we wanted to use that. We've got the facial expressions where we've got that gentle smile. Oh my God, it's horrible. So what can we work through? We've got the full body reshape. Now this can actually give you a longer neck. If we do the whole lot all together, you'll see it's actually shrinking the shoulders down. I don't like it. It makes you look a little bit sort of anorexic sometimes. What I might do sometimes in this app is when the neck is about this wide, sometimes I very, very slightly will just take it down just a little bit. And if you do too much, look, it gives you like, oh, looks like she's been strangled. So I'll just take that down. You can make boobs bigger. I don't think it'll show on this because of, no, it's not going to show. Okay, so you could make boobs bigger, you can make people's waists, and you can make the leg lengths longer. So anyway, we've just worked our way through there. I don't know what you think of that. I don't know what you think of that, but what I tend to do is, um, if I'm doing something really quickly, I'll use this to clean it all up. Now, let me show you something. This is quite interesting. People that know me from the studio will know that I like to use different coloured backdrops. I use pinks, oranges, I use grey and white. I'm going to just show you this really quickly. This background we can change and we can alter backgrounds and different things. Actually, before I do that, I wanted to show you something really quickly. Um, Hair. Let's zoom in on Lucia's face again. So look at that hair. Can you see all these little stray pieces? So let's get into that hair. Let's get rid of that first. I wanted to show you that because as a hair photographer, this could be quite valuable if it's the thing that you want to do. So can you see this remove stray hairs? It's in beta mode at the moment. So maybe if you do download it, it might not be on your edition. But if I click onto that remove stray hairs, what it's going to do is it's going to take these hairs away. So can you see that? What it's also done is if you look at Lucia's forehead, it's taken all the loose hairs away. And you can actually take that as much or as little as you want. Sometimes if you overdo it, let's see if it does anything. So you can see sometimes occasionally it's a little bit too much. But you can see it's cleaned all the hairline up. And then another thing you can do is you can hair gaps. So sometimes if there's a parting or if there's a little bit of a gap where quite often models have got quite thin hair when they're put up into a ponytail, you can fill the hair gaps just by clicking on that, and you'll notice that it'll start to just fill in or knock the edge off there. If you do too much, all you're doing really is colouring in the scalp. So that doesn't look very good, does it? So just occasionally you have to gauge that to see what it's doing, but it's well worth using. Anyway, let's get back to these backgrounds because this is probably the most exciting thing about using um, Avoto. So there she is. She's overtouched. It looks false. It's not right. It's not what we do. But let's take a little look at what we can do. And we're using this for demonstration purposes anyway. So those of you that's been to my studio, you'll know that I've got a pink background. I love it and I shoot on it quite regular. But if we got some grey, we click on that pink and it changes it to pink anyway. So there you go. That's a little bit too strong. Let's knock it down a little bit. Okay, so one of the things I want to explain to you about Avoto, more than anything, the same as any program, less is more. Like I mean, if we click back onto, let's use this for example, like these fabric backgrounds, they look absolutely dreadful. They don't look good. It looks like a cutout. She looks like she's been cut out and pasted onto a background, which is exactly what has happened to her. So you've got to be careful with these. What I would say to you is sometimes if your background's not very clean, what you can do is you can use an ordinary background or you can darken the background down by using this. I actually really like these light brown colours that will really look lovely with Lucia's skin tones. So let's have a little look at those. Okay, so I think sort of less is more, and I always go back to less is more. Always go back to less is more. These graduation ones are quite nice. but they look a little bit too much behind the background. But they do look nice, don't they? So you know it's down to you to decide what you want to do. But my favourite colour is green. It's not going to suit Lucia, I don't think. That's my favourite. Not in Photoshop or in nature. I love green, so I didn't explain that very well. The reds are way too much. But as you can see, it gives you a good idea of what sort of thing you can get. So let's just for example use the brown. Okay, I like that. I like that. I think that's quite nice. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to let you into a little secret that I do. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to export that. So I'm going to, what you do is when you export the image, you choose your um, you choose your folder that you want it to go to. I'm just going to use the one I've been previously using earlier, and you just click on to export. And it does take a little bit of a minute or so because, and you can see it, you'll see it up there flicking away. And when you can see there's number 1, as soon as that's gone, it's ready to go. And I'll show you how to get into it. By the way, you could probably put, well, you could easily put 10 pictures into this and batch them. So what you do is you select, you import your pictures at the bottom there. You select all in edit, and then once you've done that, it'll do exactly the same thing to all 10 pictures. So that's a little bit wicked, isn't it? Anyway, let's click into there. That shows us that file. We click on that. It shows us where we are. And there we are. Now, what I'm going to do is I want to show you something now that is ridiculous. This is when I go on to the next level. And I'm going to do this very quickly. So I'm going to open with Lightroom. Sorry, with Photoshop. I'm going to show you this really quickly. I'm not going to be daft enough to show you all the tricks that I do in Photoshop because that would just be giving the game away. Okay, so we all know that most of our images are going to be on Instagram, right? So let's just take it like this. As you can see, this file was shot on a Canon 5D Mark III about 2 years ago. The document file is 63 meg, so it's not too big. So let me just show you what we're going to do. Click on to Square. Get that out there so that we've got this square. And once we've got this square, I'm going to use this on Instagram. I'm going to post it on there in a minute so that everybody can see what it's like. And I'm going to apologize to Lucia for being over retouched because she really doesn't need it. Okay, so let's look at the top. We've got generative expand, we've got content aware fill, and we've got background default. If we click on background default, it just gives us these white layers so that we can just put that straight onto Instagram and it's a square shape. If we put content aware fill, it's going to be dreadful. Let's just do that and let's just use that as an example. It's not going to be very good because content aware fill wasn't meant for arms or legs or okay, so you can see it's picking up on all the things. All of a sudden, she's completely deformed. Okay, so let's go back to where we was. Let's put that back in the center. So we go to the square. We drag the corners out till we've got all of it in. Yep. Well, let's get that right. Someone is just using a mess. Now let's go to generative expand. Click on that. Now listen, I can tell you straight away. Sorry, not Facebook. What we're talking about. Photoshop does not like photographs of models, the same as YouTube doesn't. It doesn't. So what I would do is I wouldn't type anything in there. If you type nothing, sometimes it will just come up and say that it can't do it. It'll ban you. So all I do is I just type in a full stop, and then I click generate, and you'll see that it'll start generating all of the images. And if, by the way, if you hate I would click off now. So as you can see, it's taking its time a little bit, and then it's going to go straight in. You can see these here; they're processing along a little bit, and we've put a little bit of an elbow in there. And you can choose which arm to you looks more natural. And you can see as well, it's also added a little bit of the left arm in. I actually like the middle one. She's got a little bit of muscle there because Lucia is naturally she's naturally quite muscular and fit. So let's use the middle one. Okay, now this is really simple to do. All I'm going to do now is I've got that. If I try to save that now, what it does is it's now given me a 168 meg file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flatten that image and we're down to about a 94. So that's that image saved. Um, that what I will do is I would normally go into the skin there and I would add some more texture. But you can see it's not bad, is it, crikey? It's not bad at all. You'd get away with that, wouldn't you, surely, if you were just using it for Instagram. I mean, let's just zoom in quite close onto. You can still see skin tones. You can still see. I mean, you know what? I know it's not going to be to everybody's taste, but you can still see things. Can you see that little bit of hair there that is missed? So let's just click on that, take that down. Um, there's a piece there, and there is a piece there. So I don't know what you think. I, I would be the first to say, in Lucia's defence and in my defence, that is way, way overdone. Way overdone. But you know what? I still quite like it. It's really naughty, isn't it? I still quite like it. And I'm gonna, do you know what? Right, go to my Instagram and let's put some of the comments on there. And shall I tell you what? Right, let's see if anybody actually notices that what I've done. So I'm going to just literally go into there. I'll flatten the file. I'm going to go in. I'm going to save it. Save as. I'm going to save it as a JPEG. I don't want it to be 94 megs because I want to put it straight onto. No, I don't want to do that either. I'm going to save it as something else. So let's type it just as small. So let's save it again. So then we'll drop it down to about 7. Okay, yeah, about there. We'll save it, and it's saved as small. Now what I'm going to do is I want to put that on Instagram, and I'd love you to go and take a look at it. I'm going to leave it up there for a couple of weeks and just see what you think. Thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you're not too angry about me doing all of this AI stuff on the pictures, but I think she looks quite good. So thank you very much. Speak to you soon.